let's dive into this. Why'd they lose? 3 turnovers or the defensive performance?
Defensive performance. They had a fourth quarter lead that turned out to be a 2-possession lead. What I mean by that is they were up 8, but Chicago, because Caleb Williams didn't see the wide open guy the play was designed to go to, missed the 2-point conversion. So you still required them to go get another drive and another score, and they had no answer for it. They couldn't stop it. When you took a lead, finally for the first time in this game, you come clawing back. The offense did that. This was the casual, effortless DeAndre Swift sort of jog down the sideline situation for a give-up easy touchdown, where the offense had a bad afternoon or evening. They absolutely did. God forbid they do anything wrong at any point in time, and you can't bail them out once at any point in time. You had a fourth quarter lead that took multiple scoring drives against you, and there was so little resistance. To me, it's emblematic. The bad tackling, the fact that guys are so open, the run after the catch, the run defense was atrocious all night long. Washington outpossessed Chicago, even with all the turnovers, had the ball for longer, so don't give me the tired excuse. They lost this game. I understand the offense didn't do its job to the same degree. You still manage mid-20s points. If Matt Gay makes a field goal, which is an offense, to me that's special teams, you score 28 in the game, that should be plenty to beat a team like Chicago, but it wasn't.
Yeah, so they did plenty of good on offense. I actually said earlier today, I know it was 2 bad turnovers, so I'm not pretending like Jaden Daniels was incredible, but I liked his performance overall. I thought it was a B-plus kind of outing, and it would have been an A-plus without the turnovers that pull it down. Maybe you'd have to say it's a C because of the fumble that cost you the game and the interception. But all plays are not created equal, and the 2 really bad ones outweigh a lot of really good ones. I'm understanding of that. They lost this game because of the turnovers, though. And I don't even think it's particularly close. I mean, when you look at their defensive outing, Danny, if I was to have told you going in, they got to score 25 against this Bears defense, I will take that every single time. You got to be able to score more than 25. And if you don't wait until a quarter and a half into the game to start the scoring, when you get 4 quarters instead of 2.5, it's a lot easier to go get 25 points. You know, the penalties they committed, a factor in that, right? Some of the other things that they did where they bogged down and they have to settle for 50-plus yard field goals are a factor in that, obviously. But of the 25 points that Chicago scored, 9 of those, so 3 field goals, 3 of their scoring drives, came on drives of 35 or fewer yards. Some of that is short field stuff after takeaways. If I give up 35 yards, and I know in today's NFL, if I'm starting at the 30, as a general rule, that gets you to the 45. Now you're talking about a 62-yard field goal. 35 yards gets you to the fringe of field goal range anyway. But on shorter fields with takeaways, which is what happened, now 35 yards gets me points. And that's what happened last night because your offense hurt your defense. So I actually thought this was grading on the curve of knowing what the offense is, knowing what the defense is, knowing how they have to win and what they need to be. This was on the offense. And by the way, they got the ball back multiple times at the end of the game and did nothing with it. They went 5 plays, 6 yards, and punted. That was a killer. 7:57 to go when they lost the football. I think they got it back with 10:26 to go, remember, in the fourth quarter. You got a chance to go win the football game, and you go 5 plays, 6 yards, and with 15 yards of penalties, and you have to punt the ball. And then they get the ball back at the very end of the game after a punt with 6:02 to go, and they run some clock down to 3:07, and that was the Jaden Daniels fumble, which no one play cost you a game, but that was the direct correlation to the Bears winning it. Then you have an interception that takes 3 off the board at minimum, should have been 7 because Debo's open in the end zone. Then you have the Bill fumble around midfield as well. So a team that turned the ball over 3 times all season, turning it over 3 times last night, that's why you lost.
I hear all that. I'm not telling you it was good. The defense got bailed out again by that weird play, the penalty call on the left tackle where he's just lining up like every left tackle always does. That was another touchdown they gave up that gets off the board. They've been bailed out, luckily, 2 straight weeks. Huge gains against the Chargers by procedure penalties against the team with makeshift offensive lines. Yeah, this group can't stop anybody. So to me, the offense needs to be, that's the better of the 2 units, needs to be allowed some grace at times for bad moments, and there certainly were bad moments. You touched on it. When they get a roughing the passer penalty to get the ball, I think it was the 39-yard line of Chicago, go backwards and don't get anything out of that drive, which was just infuriating. The offense wasn't great last night. I totally understand that. But, again, you got a fourth-quarter lead. You're up, and you're not up by a point. You're up by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Your offense needs you one time to do something, and you couldn't do it. So I understand your point. I don't disagree with any of it. It's a matter of how you see the water in the glass.
Yeah, I think that this is why it's a fun conversation. This is why it's a fun debate. I don't know that either is going to be wrong. You talk about needing kind of help that one time. I would say that about the entire first 20 minutes of football. Like the defense holds to a field goal, and is kind of bowing as best they can. And you're just kind of looking. You're in a fight for your life, and you're turning over your shoulder, going, "Where's the reinforcements here? Well, where is my offense?" And it's before you look up, it's 13-0. You played a quarter and a half. All right, let's hit the phones. 800-636-1067 if you want to hop in. More responsible for the loss. 3 turnovers offensively, 2 from Daniels, 1 for Bill, who's joining us at 5 today, or the defensive performance. Let's go to Al in Hyattsville to get started on Grant and Danny. What's up, Al? How are you?
Hey, what's up, boys? How y'all doing?
Hey, man.
Good. It was the turnovers. Okay, at a minimum, we have 9 points that wasn't put on the board from just being able to get field goals because of 3 turnovers that were lost. At a maximum, you had 21 points that you could have put on additional on the board. Not to mention the extra field goal that was missed, which was in another 3 points. So it was the turnovers. Had we not turned the ball over, the game was over. That's simple.
Very simple. Yeah. I mean, if you don't fumble at the end of the game, you either kick a field goal and they've got to go the length of the field in the rain, which they had done one time all night, and you just count on a Caleb Williams or a Bears mistake, and there were plenty of those. Or you keep the ball in your possession until the game's over. I mean, so the very direct last few minutes is like a very obvious the turnover cost them, but obviously there's a lot of other football plays and a lot of other context we can provide. Let's go to Chris in Hyattsville on G&D. Who you blaming, the defensive performance or the 3 takeaways?
I'm definitely blaming the offense and the turnovers. As boring as that sounds, it's the most obvious thing. I think the defense played well. They got some stops when they needed, not to mention a blocked field goal. Caleb Williams was very underwhelming, as Troy Aikman pointed out. But to me, what's obvious is the roster as it's currently constructed offensively does not have enough dynamic playmakers. And it's all on Jaden's shoulders. He's got to throw with pinpoint accuracy, drop the ball in the bucket. Aside from Debo occasionally, there's nobody who can break one. And Zach Ertz continues to be a main focal point of the offense. The guy is a fall and catch tight end right now. I don't know why Ben Sinnott, a second-round pick, has been relegated to blocking duty. Why can't we incorporate him? We've seen what's happened when we give the ball to McCaffrey. Get your young players involved. I think Kingsbury is lacking a little bit of inspiration right now.
Well, I think there's something to, and Chris, appreciate you as always. There's something to that, Grant. There's nothing dynamic happening. And if and when McLaurin comes back and if Noah Brown's healthy for more than an hour, okay, maybe there's something different there, although Noah Brown's not terribly explosive. But it may be time to start passing the torch a little bit. Now, Zach Ertz is still very useful. And he's got a place for me. Goal line, he was so good, scoring that touchdown.
Third down last night, yeah.
Yeah, doing his normal routine. But there's nothing dynamic about anything they do. If Debo Samuel's not fully armed and operational, I think he was actually more bothered, it sounds like maybe than you do, by that heel. And I give Chicago some credit, too, for taking
I think that's
him away.
probably fair. But I don't disagree with that.
But to me, there was nobody explosive at all last night. And I guess you could put Jeremy McNichols taking a check down for a first down for the second straight week. And but I'm not talking about that level. I'm talking about what you saw from DeAndre Swift.
Now, who scared you?
Yeah, nobody.
Who scared you last night if you're the
nobody.
Bears?
Nobody.
I mean, you took Debo away, and they had nothing else, right? Luke on a schemed-up play scores a long touchdown. Jalen Lane, great twitchy play. That's kind of what we're talking about, but you don't see a lot of it. I don't think they give him enough opportunities. But that gets to your point of passing the torch. Like, I know they're rolling with who they trust right now, and it's clearly Chris Moore over, say, Jalen Lane. It's Luke McCaffrey over at Jalen Lane.
Well, that little stutter go, to me, said, Jalen Lane, you deserve more targets.
Right. I mean, the guy did it all camp. Like, at some point, you got to give guys opportunities. I agree with the point at tight end, too. I'm not going to play Ertz less, but you can't get Sinnott a touch in the open field. I mean, this guy's entire game in college was his after-the-catch ability. His Chris Cooley-like balance and body lean where he's able to run through tackles and stay up. The one time we've ever seen him rumble in space was in the preseason against the Jets. He's dragging dudes for 20 yards last August, a year ago. You can't find a way to involve him in the passing game at all. And while I thought Ertz was really good last night, he does a lot of those things that frankly aren't appreciated that much really, really well. There were also one specific player I remember with like a long developing, like he has to get to like 15 yards and bend it in, and you're waiting. You could just see Jaden like, come on, man. Come on, man. Like, whenever you're ready. So I think there's some truth to that. Like, they're right in their love and infatuation with Ertz because he does a lot of that stuff that they need on third down and red zone, and you saw it last night with 6 grabs. But I think someone like Chris is right, too, when he's going, they got to get a little more explosiveness out of that position. Let's go to B, who's in D.C. on G&D. What's up, B? How are you?
Hey, what's up, fellas? And I know this is a hard day for everybody. It was hard for me because I fell asleep in the fourth quarter, and I had to wake up and see that we took the L. But what a lot of people forgot is that the NFL changed the rules so there can be more explosive plays, so there can be more touchdowns, more receivers breaking long passes, running backs, whatever. They don't want to see 17 or 14, 9 or 13. So I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the defense. The defense, they did pretty good yesterday. The offense, the turnovers. You can't have turnovers. That's like starting back at square one. The first turnover, Jaden Daniels would have hit Deebo Samuel. The momentum would have just been with us the whole game. But the turnovers is what I think killed us. And another thing is we got to starting off fast. We coming out the gate real slow. There's no urgency out there. So I think we need to get that together. And one more thing on the stadium, guys. Only time I've been to the stadium over RFK was I went to go see Howard play Hampton. I never been to FedEx. I don't like going to games in the weather. So if they build a dome, I'm definitely going to be going there. Thanks, fellas.
That's good
Appreciate
to hear.
you, dude, yeah.
On the slow starts, down 14-0 to Green Bay, 17-7 to Atlanta, 10-0 to the Chargers, 13-0 to the Bears, and lethargic early against the Giants. It's a no-brainer. It's easy, and it's true. They got to start faster. They just haven't done it. What about his other point, though, about basically when the turnovers came? Because that's kind of what I'm basing my answer on, that the turnovers were a bigger problem last night than the defense, which is to say the Daniels interception is on a should-be touchdown, and then the fumble is when you're putting the game away to give the Bears the ball a couple of runs from field goal range. Just the size, the magnitude of these self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, I mean, not a great analogy, but you think of the tie game where the guy misses the free throw, and everybody's like, oh, my God, the free throw. You don't remember the first quarter when somebody blew a defensive switch and there was a backdoor layup, or you don't remember, a million other plays that led you to that moment. But yeah, I mean, those were so glaring and obvious. If you don't fumble there, and especially the last one, you win the game, probably in all likelihood. So it's very easy for me to say, like you're talking about, yeah, the timing of that one, that was pretty killer. Like, you got the football up 3, your win probability was really a really big number, and then you turned it over, and then it became a really small number.
And I also just think, like, you had given up 22 points to the Bears going into the final seconds of that football game. So I just think that's a winning effort for the most part, off of a bye against the offense with one of the top designers in the league, and you knew he was going to scheme you up a little bit. And if you're sitting at 22 points in the waning seconds when 6 of those points at that juncture had been on really short drives, and I think 13 total points off of the shorter fields with takeaways, like, I'll take that defensive performance in terms of scoring defense almost every week.